Franchise player, someone that can or will be able to be the best player on a championship-winning team and will undoubtedly stick with their respective team for the next 3 to 5 seasons. While every front office dreams of a player like this, only 17 teams actually have a player of this caliber, much less than many fans think. But what teams have them and what teams don't? The Atlanta Hawks do not have a franchise player, but it is close. Trae Young is easily good enough to be the franchise player and one of the highest rated players on my top 100 to not be a franchise player, but the Hawks' uncertainty leads me to leave him off the list. Trae Young has been in plenty of trade rumors over the last few seasons, and this roster may have already reached its peak in 2021. And with a supporting cast of Jalen Johnson, Zachary Reese-Shai, and Clint Capella, this core may not be together much longer, and trading away Trae, which seems like a legitimate possibility, could give Atlanta a nice start to their rebuild. The Boston Celtics have their franchise player in Jayson Tatum. The C's are coming off a championship where they won 64 games, and they're bringing back a very similar team. With Tatum on the books for the next 6 seasons, he may retire in the green. The Brooklyn Nets don't have a franchise player, though Cam Thomas and Nick Claxton are nice young pieces. They will never be all-NBA level, and Brooklyn has just started their rebuild with the Mikal Bridges trade. The Charlotte Hornets also don't have a franchise player. LaMelo Ball has the potential to step up into that role, but with the continuous lower leg injuries, LaMelo's health is too big of a factor to label him as that guy. Brandon Miller also has all-NBA potential, but it is just a bit too early to mark him as a franchise player, though don't be shocked if in a couple years he is an all-star. The Chicago Bulls don't have a franchise player, and nobody on their roster can reach that mark unless Matas Buzelis is way better than everyone else thinks. Donovan Mitchell is the Cleveland Cavaliers franchise player. Despite rumors generated by the media that Spider was on his way out, he signed a deal with keeping him in Cleveland through 2027, and there was slight shakeup of the surrounding cast with Garland, Allen, or Mobley being on the move in the next few seasons. Wouldn't be shocking. Mitchell is a top 15 player and has found his home. The Dallas Mavericks, of course, have their franchise guy in Luka Doncic, a perennial MVP candidate who just led Dallas to their first finals appearance since 2011, and the Denver Nuggets have Nikola Jokic, the reigning MVP and best player in the world who's coming off a historical title run in 2023 stat-wise. The Pistons don't know if they have a franchise player, but as of now I will say no. We have not seen if Cade Cunningham really can become that player. He has played just 2 full seasons, one of which being his rookie year, and the other being the 14-win mess of a basketball team that Detroit rolled out last season. While Cade has showed plenty of flashes, he's only 23 years old, but he hasn't been good enough to pencil him in as a guy that can be the best on a title-winning team. Though with the Pistons' offseason improvements and Cade going into his 3rd full season, we should see this year just how good Cade will be. The Golden State Warriors have Steph Curry, and though he is old, just 2 years ago he led the Warriors to a championship, and this summer is one of the best players on the gold-winning American Olympic squad. Curry's playstyle and the late age that he entered the league should lead to some insane longevity, and there's no shot that Golden State moves on from him. He has 2 more years left on his current contract, and it wouldn't be surprising if he gets another deal after that. The Houston Rockets don't have a franchise player yet, and this might be what holds them back. They have one of the best cores in the league of Alperen Sengun, Jalen Green, Reed Shepard, Cam Whitmore, Jabari Smith Jr., and Amen Thompson highlighting the squad, but I don't think any of them will become an all-NBA guy. But with the amount of quality young players on Houston, they will be a perennial trade target for any unhappy superstar. The Indiana Pacers have Tyrese Haliburton, or at least that's what they will build around. Healthy Hallie last season was nuts. Up to January 4th, right before he was out for a while due to injury, he was averaging 24.9 points and 12.7 assists on 50.1% from the field and 40.8% from deep. By the way, he was making over 3.5 threes per game at that rate and led Indy to the play-in finals. They traded for Pascal Siakam to be Haliburton's running mate, and though the Iowa State alumni wasn't healthy, they still made the conference finals and actually put up a fight against Boston. He's legit and a top 20 player at just 24 years old. The Los Angeles Clippers don't have a franchise player. Kawhi Leonard is 33 years old and one of the most injury-prone players in the league. It would be a shock if the Clippers were a genuine contender anytime soon, and he has just 3 more years left on his deal. Even if he stays that long, I'm not sure if he can reach that height again. The Lakers have Anthony Davis and kinda LeBron. Brown is 39 and has 2 more years left, but looks like he can't play another 10 years. His retirement will be soon, but it won't be because he can't play anymore, but instead he needs a break and is done with the game, and we have no idea when that will be. But AD did play 76 games last year while being one of the best defenders in the league. Under new coach JJ Redick, this Lakers squad actually has potential. Ja Morant is back and the Grizzlies franchise player. Though injuries have deterred Ja, he's just that good and will remain that guy, as the last time Memphis was healthy, they were the 2nd seed and won a playoff series. The Miami Heat were on the border, but Bam slightly falls into the franchise player category. He has been an elite defender for years, but his offensive creation has been questioned. Though this offseason, fans have been hyping up Adebayo actually becoming a stretch 5, and in the Olympics we saw the first taste of that while in his first preseason game. He shot 5 threes and made 2 of them. It is not likely that Bam can ever be the best player on a title team, but there is a chance, and he can undoubtedly be the second best player on his championship squad. The Milwaukee Bucks, of course, have two-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo. Though the core with Dame, Chris Middleton, and Brook Lopez may never reach the hopes that were dreamed of last year, Giannis is such a good player that Milwaukee will never voluntarily give him up. The Minnesota Timberwolves have Anthony Edwards. Ant just led them to their first conference finals since the Kevin Garnett era in 2004. He's a two-way star that can give you 40 on any night and is just 23 years old. The New Orleans Pelicans do not have a franchise player, but it is close. Zion has the potential to be that guy. In just his second season, he averaged 27, 7, and 4 and made an All-Star game, and in his first taste of postseason action, he scored 40 in 3 quarters against Los Angeles. But that's the problem. Injuries. He did play 70 games last year, which gives us hope, but Zion has been injured too much to give him that label yet. The New York Knicks have Jalen Brunson. He's a culture changer in New York as the team's vibes feel completely different. And with trades for Bridges and Cat, this team is fully committed to winning a championship, and Brunson is a proven playoff star, even going back to his last Dallas year. There is a good shot that Brunson retires with the Knicks as a franchise legend. The Oklahoma City Thunder have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's an MVP candidate and one of the best scorers in the league. OKC got the first seed last year and forced Dallas to 6 in their core's first playoff appearance, and after adding Isaiah Hartenstein and Alex Caruso, the Thunder could actually be historically good this year, and the next video will be about them. The Orlando Magic can slot Paolo Banchero in as their franchise player. I just made a whole video about Paolo, so if you're interested, check that out after this video is done. But Banchero just led Orlando to the playoffs and a 7-game series against Cleveland while carrying his Magic squad. He's an elite two-way player, and after just 2 years and at his build of 6'10", 250, could be a future MVP. Joel Embiid is just too good to not call him a franchise player. Though he is injury prone, even having 40 games of Embiid virtually locks your team into the playoffs, and he just won MVP in 2023 before leading the race last year, though injuries eliminated him from winning it. The Suns have Devin Booker, though this one is close. The core doesn't have that long of a window, and with Kevin Durant's history, the big three in Phoenix may not be together another 3 years, but Book is one of the best two-way guards in the league and is an elite offensive creator. It would feel wrong to leave a young top 15 player off this list. The Trailblazers don't have a franchise player, and it hurts saying that. Scoot Henderson has looked terrible so far, though showed flashes to end last season. Shadon Sharpe has struggled to stay healthy. Anthony Simons cannot reach that peak, and Denny Avdia may be too limited of an offensive creator to reach those heights. This is a hot take, but the Kings don't have a franchise player. The core of Fox, Sabonis, and DeMar will not get anywhere and could be blown up sooner than many think, as they already showed major signs of regression last season. Adding a 35-year-old DeMar won't put Sacramento into a title contending tier. The Spurs, of course, have Victor Wembanyama, the rookie who's already a top 20 player and top 5 defender at worst, will most likely be in the top 10 in the league once the season is over. The Toronto Raptors don't have a franchise guy yet. We haven't seen enough from Scotty Barnes as a first option to pencil him in yet, as Scotty actually got worse after the Siakam trade and just didn't look as good. I'm not sure he can be the one on a title team. Utah will look to land them in the draft in the following years, as Lauri Markkanen just is not that guy, even though he's an elite off-ball scorer. Washington also doesn't have a franchise player, though they hope Bilal or Sarr can reach those heights. It is much more likely that they land a guy in the next 2 drafts.